all the young lions wanna roar like thunder. Who among them becomes the king?
You and all I feel is disgust. Character sus, a dude I can't trust, cause he not like us. My heart can get black as the moon, black as the melanin in my skin. I'm still healing from wounds, so Lord forgive me if I sin. I can't help but choose violence on the daily. I'm him, I refuse to lose, so don't make me repeat it again. When I reunite the culture, the vultures are not impressed. Dropping bombs on them like I'm obsessed. Kill them off with no emotion, like I got a hole in my chest. I'm the king and I'm taking the crown back to the west.
Come again, you the king? Nah. You need to turn your sound down. Putting rap on your back. Please. You just snatching crowns now. You know my big bro Cole could've beat your ass around town. But I'm the wolf at the door, so you dealing with me now. Why they came back around? Cause this boy got a loud mouth. He got the bag now, but that's nothing to brag about. Sound blast in the background, in the cut like I cut pounds. You in uptown, I'm from down south. I smell fear like a bloodhound. Why the hell your drawers looking so brown? Put that crown down, I'm liable to crash out. If they don't give me mine, hit you with my streamline. Send my 50 times. The crown ain't yours, but yo, I can't blame you for trying. Big bro showed us the way, and now I'm making sure I'm next in line. Y'all think you're deep? I need the crown like I need to breathe. I need respect, I got people to feed. I get that W by any means. Of course, a king, I do not disagree, but understand I'm out of your league. Enough is enough. You think you up next? Please, I roll you up like I'm smoking some trees. Make me too mad and I'm making you bleed. If they try running, I'm breaking their knees. I made them fall like some autumn leaves. I'm not the king yet, but I'm planting the seeds. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. I do not stutter. There's no in between. If I enter the ring, then I'm making a scene. Then I'm making them scream.
How does one rise from the ashes? How does one know what the hummingbird sings? Every bird sings. All the young lions wanna roar. One of them becomes the king. How does one rise from the ashes? How does one know what the hummingbird sings? When all the young lions roar like thunder, who among them becomes the king?
If y'all got a few problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 problems, but being a bitch ain't one. Rock Nation Empire blueprint in the vault. Every brick I flip turn to gold, that's all I know.
Whoever putting money on my head, they surviving. You ain't getting rich off me, but homie, you could die trying. I'm the undefeated king of queens, getting straight dubs. My bulletproof vest about to be covered in your blood. If you talk smack, get clapped, diced up and slaughtered. Y'all, you looking kinda pale, need some vitamin water, dog. Heed the prophecy, you don't know what's on the line. Ignoring signs of summon the destruction of space and time.
Give a damn about your prophecy, you ain't seen what I saw. The Illmatic Oracle, been him since 94. Most critically acclaimed, my style second to none. You talk about kings in the presence of God's son. I hear you prophesize, but do you see the big picture? I pen scrolls and shadows where the street lights flicker. Flow like hieroglyphic scripture, make the weak hearts quiver. Now I flow so cold it'll make Lucifer shiver.
Here we go, shaking stadiums, a shady spit this flow. Do they know? If you piss me off, I'll go ballistic, bro. These kings looking like bozos. I'm wondering if I should snatch that gold. Hell don't know. That's just a joke. What's a king to a rap guy, yo? Shady to see to the 8 miles in my jutsu ain't no need for combs. Get so close, I'll lose my shit and carve my name onto your bones. Leo's my comatose, believe I'm not here to save souls. I'm going in until I know the prophecy wanna fall is photo.
I rip the steel barrel, kissing your dome piece. Down in the pipe, like a heavyweight, I'm obese, cause I eat beats. My temper's hard to manage. I'm a Brooklyn savage, leaving all your bones damaged. Stage killer, brick flipper, the Ciroc sipper. Your ass techniques, sounding like my butt cheeks. I got bars so beef, send you back to your roots. Stash the weak MC's boots and leave his drawers with streaks.
Was doctor with a dragon flow. Big boss, so called my AC broke. I've been no real bigger since a baby though. My boss bigger bungalows. Jump might walk the wall, but I still run this so run from me. I'm the big dog, y'all just hush puppies, big money. Sniffing bread out like a dog hunting. Rabbit punches hit like fleas, but I hate Bugs Bunny. Touch you like a butcher. A knife with a bazooka. 3 grenades on my waist, and I ooze you with the shusher.
Okay, I was gonna turn that down. Okay, hello everybody, welcome in to an exciting edition of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. We're only 3 episodes in, and already we're looking like we're gonna have a great time on the show here. I am, of course, your host with the most, the mercenary with the kicks, coming to you from 2286. It is Call Sign Henshin, once again bringing you the best in Tokusatsu entertainment with the newest addition to the family, Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. And by God, the first 2 episodes have been nothing of short of exciting. So far, we've had non-stop action and overall just a great establishing way of putting the lore in through just progressive storytelling. It's not like telling you anything, it's showing you everything as it goes along. And to me, I think it's a really well way of like getting new people introduced into the mechanics of the Gavan universe. It's definitely been exciting to see just how much, care is being taken into Gavan Infinity, and just overall just being able to sit here and enjoy Metal Heroes, to enjoy the Space Sheriffs in their new form, factor has just been a joy. And getting introduced to the mechs in last episode and that amazing fight that we were treated to was just absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. It's been going great. How are you doing, Dane? How you doing? But it's just been great to just see this going on. It's just been so amazing that I really don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I kind of want to just get in there and enjoy the latest episode of Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, because it's been a damn good show. It's been delivering. It's been giving us excitement. And it is so much, very much so, living up to what I called it, which is very much so a feel-good tokusatsu. I said that this is not going to be like as mind-breaking as Zed's, but it's going to still be a tokusatsu that you're going to enjoy watching. That's the vibe it's been giving me, and I still stand behind that sentiment. So, without further ado, let's not waste any more time than we have to, because this isn't a stream. We're not waiting for something. This is going to be us just taking a moment. Let me full screen this. Hold on. This is going to be us sitting back and just enjoying what the series has for us. So let's not like vamp for more than we have to. Let's head over to our cinema and get ready to enjoy some awesome. So here we are, folks. Here we are in the cinema. It is time, once again, for us to enjoy the awesome that is Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. This is the episode where we're going to be introduced to Gavin Luminous. And the big question that we were left with last time is, how is Luminous going to work? How is it going to work? Is it going to be just one of the 2 girls we saw at the end? Is one of them going to become Luminous? Or is this very much a double situation where they both become Luminous? See, that is the big question we're going to answer today. The episode is named Kiki and Koto. So, before we actually start, I just realized I forgot to do something. 1 second. I have forgotten to do something of vital importance. 1 second. Let's go ahead and fix this. All right. Just no, it shouldn't take me too long. Just gonna hit that, and then we're gonna hit this button. Okay, we good there? We started. Is it going? Is it waking? I do not know if there it is. There it goes. All right. Welcome in, Twitch people. I apologize. I forgot to hit start on Twitch. My bad. That's fault. But welcome into the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. We are about to start watching the episode. This is episode 3, Kiki and Koto. We're going to see, this is the introduction of Gavan Luminous. So let us venture forth and just see what it is this is all about. What's going on today? What's going to happen with Kiki and Koto? This is Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, episode 3, and away we go. Mute that for you guys. Karasumaru. Interesting. A new case on Earth Dimension 5109. What the fuck is this salute? What the fuck? Why is that the salute? What the fuck? So right off the bat, these two is Gavin, what we assume are Gavin Luminous, one or both? And it looks to be forensic agents. A lot of dream talk here. A man was foamed to death in Lego City.
Kiki, カンキなんて言ってんの？遺体からエモルギーの匂いがするそうです。つまりこの事件はエモルギア事案と断定します。じゃあ、ということで。
That salute is super weird. What is this salute? Just winds up the arm in the back. It's a frog! It's a frogman! How do we not have an intro for Gavan Infinity yet? That's what's bugging me. Why do you think they'd be treated like dirt, Dane? There's no reason for them to do that. No, I don't understand why you think they're gonna treat it like dirt.
エモルギアもマック空間も一般には知られていません。にもかかわらず、カラスマルは両方に精通していた。次元超越者の入れ知恵であると推理します。
Okay, they're piecing it together. It's a transdimensional traveler.
俺以外にも例のエモルギーを浴びた者がいるのかもな。
可能性があるとすれば、そのエモルギアを地球人に売ろうとした人物。ギャバ、君の恩師の死に関わるものだ。
Uh-oh. Keyword here. They'll have a connection to his mentor.
他の地球と通信できりゃ確認も早いんだがな。
うん。どうするレジ？もう一度ラムダ地球に行ってみるか。
そこにいるのは資料課のレイジ君と大輔君かな。
Oh, great! These fuckers again.
なんだ？暗号か？
出たよ、ワニパト。
今なんと呼びましたかね？ワニパト？こいつら窓際のくせに失礼にも程がありますよ、パトラン様。
まあ今日は多めに見てやるか。一家はでかい山続きで。忙しいのお前ら資料課と違って。
They really do not like documentation.
現場がお待ちだよ、パトラン君にワニブチ君。みんな同期のよしみなんだからさ。
一方、多元地球ラムダ8018では悪のエモルギアをばらまいた元締め カラスマロへの取り調べが行われている。
Bushido is questioning the guy.
エモルギアカラスマロよ。誰から知り得た？
黙秘権。
This fucker. Not without my lawyer. Fuck you.
長きにわたってこの地球に犯罪の種をまき散らしてきただけのことはあるわ。
アモン本部長、必ずや落としてみせます。
セツナのことは信頼してる。それから
I don't know where you're getting that from, Dane. That's interesting.
どうして私に会わせてくれなかったの？
申し開きのしようもなく面目ありません。
次に彼が来たら連れてきて。
Interesting.
いいわね。
Meanwhile, in Alpha
ネ
0073,
ガティブ波動を感知しました。座標コスモレイヤーイオタ5と09です。
よし。
oh, they're going straight there.
初めて
Going straight to Iota.
アギちゃん、セーバーユニットいけるか？
行けます。本日1台空きがあります。
よし。セーバーユニット、ドッキング。
Oh, interesting. So those are interchangeable. Huh. I expected them to be like, just be like dedicated one to some, but I'm seeing that they all change.
ポジティブ波動充填完了。
座標多元地球イオタ5と丸9にロックオン。
コスモギャバリを発進。DJ
It's interesting to me, like how everyone like around them somehow doesn't know what it's all about when this ship goes out. I'm amazed they've been able to keep their own squadron like non-privy to what's going on, right?
お腹すいた。エナジーバーとかあったんじゃない？エナジーバー？うん、なんかたまんないよ。たまるよ。たまんないよ。がっつり系食べたい。例えば？
Their ship is very similar to our guy's ship. Very similar.
いや、行こうよ。じゃあ何ラーメン？味噌かな。
Wait, what?
うん。こんわりね、こんわり。あ、じゃあバターもある。いいね。
なるほど、これが会社か。こんなの見たことねえな。え？
ちょいちょいちょい、部外者侵入禁。
ご同業エモルギアジャン担当ドキレイジ捜査官だ。
Just walks in.
私は鑑識課の高成寿。
This fucker.
こっちはこういう敬礼か。
Okay, so they have different salutes in different worlds. Interesting.
キキはどう？
So the gun for each government is a mech. Yeah, it's pretty much a representation of their mechs.
エモルギア？名前激動さんですか？私岩井キキと言います。よろしくお願いします。
So the bubbly one and the serious one.
待ってキキ、この人のことまだよくわかんないのに。
エモルギアが友達の人に悪い人いません。
So okay, that's an interesting snap.
エモルギア。人間の感情を受けてパワーを発するエモルギーを収容した
Power caused by taking in human
通
emotions.
信部で発見されたエモルギーは人の善意でポジティブなパワーを
What the fuck is that
ネガティ
pose?
ブなパワーを生み出すためその活用方法を研究中でもあった。
事件発生は2日前、泡からエモルギー成分が検出されました。同時に被害者の DNA も判明。照合したところ、惑星ヤークとでターゴ歴のある密猟者ガレンと分かりました。出所が地球に来て約20年が経過しています。
その靴跡は犯人か？
状況からそう判断しています。被害者を泡に変える能力を持っているのではと。
This is in depth.
カエルなんだ。犯行にはエモンズを使った可能性があるだろうな。
エモルギアの暴走が生み出すエモンズの足跡は現場にはありませんでした。
キキ、ガレンには一緒に逮捕された仲間がいたって。
この人知ってます。 宇宙人商工連絡協議会のギンブル会長です。全地球新種名鑑に載ってました。
Wait,
なんだって？
一度読んだらもう全部頭の中に入ってます。
Philip, is that you?
面白いやつ。
Philip!
よし。アギ。
レーザーコンバージョン。
話は聞いてたな。
はい。ギンブル会長について。
This ain't Kaio Ryuger. Well, apparently it is.
待って。あなた人間ですか？アーティフィシャルゼネラルインテリジェンス、略してアギと言います。人工エモルギー人間です。この敬礼とってもゲバいですよね。あら、想像以上です。よろしくお願いします。
You seem very chipper in the back there.
お前の相棒、うちのアギと気が合いそうだな。
触ってもいい
キキは興味を持ったら一直線。それしか見えなくなっちゃう。そこがさ、可愛いんだよ。
Aww. Are they lovers? Can we assume that? Are we safe in assuming that?
もう何年も会っとらんがね。わしは自分の身は自分で守ることにしておる。
あ、いや、つまり警察には関わってほしくないんだろ？
What the fuck you got under your eye, brother?
この地位につくまで随分と悪どい手を使ってるよな。警察には知られたくないことをいろと。
アギちゃん調査が完璧。
They detect something.
危険が降ってきます。
なんだそれ、裏だ。逃げろ。
Damn, you got that kind of power? Holy crap, is that a dragon?
あれでは足跡が残らないはずです。
キンブル、覚悟しろ。やれ、タマ。
Wait, a frog emoji made wait, I'm confused.
銀河連邦警察だ。もう諦めろ。
奴はタマの敵だ。あいつらの身勝手で狩りの標的にされた。その悪党を守るというなら警察ごとやる。
やってみろ。悪党でも命は命。
That's the credo of a policeman.
お天道様に申し訳が立たねえ。
うるさい。タマ。
Shochaku! I love saying, like, Shochaku and Henshin are like the most satisfying words to say.
そう、ギャバン。想像以上の以上の以上です。
エモーショナルバース。
He's blind!
確かにわしは密漁者だったが、罪はもう清算している。
A space snake in this economy?
勝手なことを。わしはお前もあの怪物も知らん。
覚えてないのか。惑星アクトでお前たちと俺のために何をしたのか。俺の前でタマー。
エモン。
動機は自分のペットの復讐だったんですか。
辛いな。エモルゲ
Or is that snake? It's kind of snake-like. Oh! Wait, what? What? That thing just gave the guy's bodyguards weapons. What the fuck?
キキ、タマの分析よろしく。はい、アナライズ始めます。タマは モンズの兵隊。
やるな。気に入ったぞ。
あんたもなかなか。
Why are neither of the girls transforming? That's my question here. Why is she just going at it with like that? Like, which I'm not knocking it. That's impressive that she can hold her own without transforming. Oh, Mike Burnfire with the raid. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. We are in the midst of watching the current episode, the latest episode of Space Sheriff Gavan, and we're going to be giving our analysis after. The reason it's blurred is for copyright reasons, but my name is Callsign Henshin. I am a mercenary of fortune, broadcasting from the future from the year 2286. And right now we are just enjoying some Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. They're about to get approval on the Gavarian assault form. How are these two not in the loop? How you doing, Mike, man? Good to see you, man. What were you streaming today? Let me give you the shout outs you deserve. Hold on, let me shout out the boy here. Great to see you, Mike. What were you guys playing? I didn't what were you playing? More Pokemon today, I'm assuming? Guys don't know Mike, he is an amazing, for those of you who didn't come in from the raid, Mike Burnfire is an amazing streamer. He's known for his Fallout videos on YouTube, which I adore. Fallout New Vegas is like his bread and butter, so if you guys haven't like checked him out, by all means, please do. Right now we're watching a giant space worm like taking on a mech, and like it's just amazing. The reason I have this blurred is for copyright reasons, because I'm also posting the VOD to YouTube, and I want this kind of like as a kind of like an archive of like live reaction, us discussing the lore of the show. So that's why I have this set up the way it is. I appreciate the raid though, Mike. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what this is. Does the Brotherhood of Skills successfully take back Project Purdy? That's a no. Hello, Shuto! My boy, welcome in, brother. I'm trying to figure out what that mech was. I'm trying to see if it was trying to resemble an animal of some sort. He's got a sword! Just slicing a man down. Wait, what? Oh, there. Oh, okay, so it was a mutated one. Stop him!
あれは弾じゃありません。あなたが作り出した幻なんです。黙れ。僕らは。
He's okay. He's mental. Uh-oh. And that's Maku space opening.
やだ、何？下がってろ。魔空空間に飲まれたら終わりだ。
Block the shot. That's our guy. Whoa. Okay, that's a new one. Here comes the new one. So how does it work? Okay, so it's just her. Two FA fucked over your old man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. We don't have a Discord yet. I'm still working on it. There's too many guns. I thought it would be the martial arts one that would have the ability, but maybe they interchange it depending on who needs it. That's what I'm wondering. Is it like interchangeable? Do they pass it around amongst each other?
乗着を完了するのだ。
A female Gavan, that's crazy. But to be fair, a female space sheriff I don't think is out of the realm. I mean, Spellbond had one in Diana. But like it's very rare, I think. I think Diana is the only one. I think. So you know what bugs me is that like this is Gavan Infinity is the only one that time travels, but if there's more than one Gavan, there should be more like a what's the word? Like you'd think all the Gavans would be in on it, but they just seems to be the Gavan of their worlds, which is crazy. Gavan Luminous is Forze. I'm getting Forze vibes from Luminous. Also, this feels interesting that it looks like it's just going to be a one-episode arc, which is crazy. Like just a one and done. Oh god, I love the charge up rainbow shot. I love that. Gotta love that joint. Is he just? This is now a thought that's just occurred to me. Are they gonna end up finding? Are they gonna end up finding more Gavans? Like, is this gonna be like a whole thing? It's not just 3. It's like every arc is a new Gavan or something. Helen. Oh, I forgot Helen. That's true. That's true. Oh, and thank you, Chaos Morningstar for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. Thank you.
タマは牙だけになってもずっとそばにいます。復讐の感情に飲み込まれないでってあなたに今も語りかけているんですよ。
So overall, that was an illusion that he made with the Fang. He broke down. As you do.
私のエモルギアは喜びのパワーを発揮します。あなたに笑顔が戻るように私お手伝いします。
喜びのギャバンか。お天道様もにっこりだな。
Our boy getting profound here. He's getting profound with this joint. And we mute because copyright. But that right now, like, this is kind of like very superficial, but in like a good way, right? Like overall, this series is meant to, like I said before, it's meant to be a feel-good tokusatsu. It's meant to like sit in your soul, man. It's meant to like, it's not meant to tell like a massive story. Like there is an ongoing story, don't get me wrong, but there's still like a feeling of like you don't need to like invest in it. Like you don't. Okay, maybe that's not the right way to say it, but like you don't need to dig too deep into it is what I mean to say. Like this is overall very much a series that is going to reward you for paying attention to the story, but overall it's not meant to like take over your entire mindset like Kamen Rider Zets is doing. It's literally there to like there's a through line, yes, but it's meant to be like a feel-good joint. It's meant to make you feel good, you know what I mean?
もう行っちゃうんですか？ダメです。聞きたいことてんこ盛りなんですけど。ギャバンはキキ一人だけなんだけど。あんたほんと何？
Oh, Agi-chan's back.
レイジ君そろそろ巻き入ってます。
悪いな。次のネガティブ反応だ。よし。
どこ行くんですか？連れてってください。
いや、他の地球に行くと生きていけないぞ。
え
？Oh! You die if you go to another. That's a question. Okay, so you're telling me that you are the only ones that can survive multi-dimensional travel. Giant drill, ants. Oh great, there's another guy. I feel like we're just gonna be meeting a bunch of interdimensional Gavans. Like, that's crazy, man. We're gonna be meeting a lot of them. And they didn't even show what the suit looks like in this universe. So right now you're kind of like you're throwing a lot of Gavans at us. You're throwing like so many Gavans at us, it's crazy. Like at this point, like I feel like the 5 that we saw in the first episode was a very much a hold on, let me switch over to our main screen. It was very much a how do I put this? It was not a MacGuffin. What's the word I'm looking for? It was a false positive, right? A red herring. That's the word I was looking for. Red herring. It was a red herring. It's not just 5. It looks like we're going to be having multitudes of Gavans from different dimensions, but when it comes to Gavan himself, Gavan Infinity, like he is the guy, right? He's our lead. He's not leading a squadron. He's just our guy. He's our guy. He's like our common writer in this case. He's our main dude. All these other Gavans are just the Gavans of their worlds. This particular Gavan is the only one that can go through space and time. That's why these guys are not like joining up and building a squad. These guys are just, okay, these are the Gavans of your Earths. And since we're going to multiple Earths, we're going to multiple Gavans. Which leads me to believe if Kenji Oba can still like go despite his health issues, we will end up on the world where OG Gavan lives. And if not Kenji Oba, then it's going to be at least the guy that played him in the 2014 reboot, which I don't remember his name. What would a reboot Jiku Senshi Spielban look like? Now that's a question, right? Because I think Spielban, like all the space sheriffs, Gavan, Spielban, Scheider, Sharivan, all of them exist in the same realm, right? In the same universe, right? So I feel like the only way you can truly reboot Spielban is if like there is a Spielban in the Earth that Gavan Infinity resides, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like that's really the only way you could go about it. It is very much a how do I put this? Snapping my fingers. I lost my train of thought there, but it's very much like it would give logic that if a Gavan Infinity exists, there's also the chance of a Spielban Infinity, a Sharivan Infinity, Scheider Infinity, like it goes on, right? So there is a good chance that that is the fact, but the way we're looking at it is that every different Earth dimension has a Gavan. That's what it's looking at. So we were under the impression when the series started that we were going to see like a Sentai squad, like a Sentai squadron of Gavans, but in reality, no, we are just meeting new Gavans in every world we go to. It's not a case of we're building a squad. No, our guy is just the main guy. And by the looks of it, every Gavan is going to be able to tell their own story, which intertwines. So the way it's going to end up at the ending is very much more akin to an anniversary Kamen Rider, where like the Kamen Riders that came before him all just show up. Right? So it's not so pretty much it's not that these are they're all going to form a squadron. It's going to be all these Gavans showing up at the end to fight for the universe. That's what I think it is personally. Because now we've had that like juxtaposition, and especially with that last line that Gavan just threw out there, that Deiji like threw out there, like that very much is. That is very much so, like, cements that idea. Because if you were to look at, like, what was going on with Bushido and now with Luminous, you could make an argument that at some point they'll join the fold and they'll form a squadron. But if anything, it just feels like these are the 3 stories we're focusing on, right? It feels like it's going to be, like, the main... Like, those are the 2 that we're going to be focusing on the most, but we're going to still meet more and more Gavans. Their story does not necessarily intertwine with our boy Infinity. A Jukyo B-Fighter reboot? I mean, I didn't know that. The commander in the OG series is Higasaki from the Ninja. I didn't know that. But I feel like maybe, because right now they're kind of playing like loose right now with this. Not with Gavan, but I think with this time slot. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be a true revival of Metal Heroes. Because I was thinking about this for a minute. And I ultimately ended up realizing that this is not a Metal Heroes in its entirety revival. I think there was even said on record that this is just a Space Cop revival, a Space Sheriff revival. I don't really see them bringing back the other ones. Like, it would be cool if B-Fighter came back, but I don't really see that happening, right? Because it's not an overall revival of the Metal Heroes franchise. It's an overall revival of just Space Sheriffs. Now, it would be cool. It would be amazing if we got B-Fighters back. Because, again, like, that would be such a throwback to people. Because I feel like there's, like, a few people in this world that remember Big Bad Beetleborgs. I don't think very many people remember Beetleborgs. That was more like, kind of like I don't want to say a flash in the pan, but obviously Power Rangers ended up obscuring all. Very few people remember VR Troopers where Spielman and Diana were in, and Metalder. Like, very few people remember VR Troopers. So, subsequently, not a lot of people remember Big Bad Beetleborgs or Beetleborgs Metallics. Like, it's not a thought in their head. So, but for those of us who still remember that era of the Americanized Tokus, if they remember that era, like, that would be amazing if B-Fighter came back. But I feel like that is so much of an obscure poll that I don't know if that would end up working out, you know? Like, the OGs, like, the ones deep in the cut would know. And I would love to see that, but whether they do that or not, pretty kind of inconsequential to the big American audience at large. But yeah, the Japanese people remember B-Fighter. They probably remember that the most. So the way I see it is that right now it's just Space Sheriffs. Now, would I love to see other generations of Space Sheriff going forward? Absolutely. But I think Space Sheriff was ahead of the curve on was that every era was different. Every year was different. I think they were ahead of the curve in that regard. So, because actually, no, maybe not. But, like, okay, I had to rethink that. That didn't make sense in my head. But, yeah, but, like, they pretty much had the annual installment down to a T already. Because you had Gavan, then you had Sharivan, Spielban. Like, there were different sheriffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just do the same thing Kamen Rider's doing and just have a new Gavan every year, right? Like, just do the year beat. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, this year we're getting Gavan Infinity, and the next year we get, like, a totally different named, a totally new, different named Space Sheriff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's going to be like differently named sheriffs after this year, but they just gave the Gavan name to this one because it made the most sense to do. Because Gavan is the one you think about the most when we're talking Space Sheriffs. That's the one you think about the most. You're not really thinking about like Spielban or again, and that's not a knock to Spielban, Sharivan, or anyone else. That's not a knock. What that really is just saying that Gavan is the most recognizable name. So if you're going to bring back Gavan to appeal to bring back Space Sheriffs to appeal to a general audience, Gavan's the one you want to lead in. So once you get everyone on board with Gavan Infinity, that's when you start throwing in the other, like the different named Space Sheriffs, because it's about reestablishing the Space Sheriff brand. It's about getting back on the ground floor of getting back on the ground floor with the Space Sheriffs to ultimately get people invested. And once people get invested, that's when you start getting experimental with the shit. Water. But yeah, but ultimately I just feel like right now the story is not very important, but it is there. And as we go along and as we start learning like the implications of multiverse travel and like all the worlds that we're going to, there's going to be a narrative that's going to be ultimately like picked up on, and then that'll be our through line through. But because as with many feel-good tokusatsus, you're just there for the battles, you're there for the choreography, you're there just for the hype action scenes, and then once you're hooked in with the action scenes, here comes the through line, here comes the lore, here comes the main plot point, comes in, you're hooked, you're in. So you'll notice this episode, Gavan Dark did not show up, or Black Gavan, or whatever we're calling him. The Dark Gavan didn't show up. So what we have here is that they are using him sparingly. They don't want us asking too many questions about him. So he's just there as like a shambling presence, if you will. He's there and then he's not there. We don't know his deal, but he'll pop up in often enough to get us asking questions. To get us wondering, like, it is very much... Had Gavan Type G as Captain Chaku. Yeah. We don't talk about that. Because it's not important. Like, here's the thing. And I will say, Captain Chaku, I feel like, again, he was a one-off dealio. Right? So I don't think even if you watch Beast Morphers, I don't think he was still there long enough to, like, live in the conscience, right, of a Power Rangers fan. Like, he was there kind of like as a character to move the plot along. He wasn't there to ultimately... what's the word? He wasn't there to ultimately be, like, a massive character. He wasn't there for that. He was there simply much to be, like, a through line. Plus, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, because around that time was when the Space Sheriff 2014 reboot was happening, Go Busters was happening, and there was a tie-in, so they had to use that. But I don't think Captain Chaku lived long enough in the conscience to be able to merit a... I don't think that he was there long enough to make an impact. He wasn't there long enough to, like, be of interest, which is why there is no deal with Hasbro for the Gavan name as there is one for the Super Sentai name. Do you like that concept for Kamen Rider Berserker from that I haven't seen it. But yeah, like, Captain Chaku did not live enough in the Power Ranger fans' consciousness to be able to become a thing there. Basically, we're here to introduce Gavan to the people. So it's kind of inconsequential, that particular one. But, like, right now, the story is just kind of mellowing in Gavan Infinity. The story is mellow. We're here to enjoy the day-to-day, and then ultimately we'll start learning through bits and pieces what the overall division's about. And I feel like the way it's going to work out is going to be with those two, like, yucks, what I want to call them, because they're there for the yuck moment. Wanipat, those two, I feel like through them we're going to end up accidentally finding out a lot, right? Because I feel like these two are such bumbling idiots that they're going to just accidentally stumble into the department, and then they're going to have to let them in on what's going on. Which, by the way, feels like a setup for a clip episode. So if they do that for a clip episode later on, let it be known that I said it first. But for the most part, those two are going to be the bumbling idiots that pretty much walk in, and we'll probably just set up an overall explanation. You know what I mean? And I feel like that explanation, again, I feel like that's going to be a clip episode. So if that does end up happening, let it be known I called that shit. But yeah, but like right now, like it's very much testing the waters. And I thought it was like an interesting, it was kind of interesting how they kind of misled us throughout this episode. They misled us because here's the thing. I actually don't remember who had which name. But the more mellow chick, who was doing, like, literally holding her own in the fight, that made you think that she was going to be Gavan Luminous. So when it turns out it's the scientist chick, that is like, holy, what? Talk about a shift dynamic. But then you look at the way Gavan Luminous fights, it makes the most sense. Gavan Luminous is not a fighter. She's a technician. She's a tactical technician. So the fact that she's able to use the weapons that are appropriate for the situation, like, that says a lot. That says a lot. Because ultimately that is going to be what ends up just clicking. It just ends up being what sticks. Because at the end of the day, like, every Gavan has its own unique trait, right? And it made itself apparent with Bushido right off the rip because he had that wooden sword. But then you come back and, like, you come in with Luminous, and, like, that should have been the obvious, but we didn't know what Luminous's whole dealio was. So we see this bubbly little personality, and, like, she seems to be, you know, the smarts. So it leads you to believe she's like the chief, right? Like you know, like Gavan's second in command, right there in the spaceship. So it leads you to believe that she would be the smarts, and the other one would be Gavan Luminous because she's a fighter. No, it turns out that Gavan Luminous is the scientist chick because she literally is smart enough to build light constructs, which ends up becoming her weaponry. So it ends up becoming this whole thing with, like, it ends up becoming this whole thing that is just blows the mind. Because it's making you question, like, who's a Gavan, who's not, right? So the two girls here were meant to be a misdirect. They were very much meant to be a misdirect, right, onto which is going to be which. Now, there's still a possibility the power is interchangeable, but to me, it's more like you kind of set her up to be, like, the tactical one. Because she can create these weapons and knows which weapon is right for the situation. Which is kind of, like, bold. To, like, just come out and just be that, you know? Very, like, out there to, like, misdirect. But if anything, right now, the series is really doing a good thing about us questioning Infinity. Not like in What's His Allegiance or anything like that. Not like in Zets, where we just had our entire worldview turned up by what code is. We just had our whole worldview shifted. No, this is more like keeping you more invested in the mystery behind why that department exists and why Gavan Infinity is the only one that can travel between dimensions. Because clearly he said that Luminous would not be able to do that because they would die if they were to go to other dimensions. So that still leaves the question there of why can he? Why can him? Why can the chief? And why can... Well, Aggie's because she's a construct. But why can our boy Deiji... Why can he? Why can Deiki do it? Why is he the one? And I'd like to believe that that's possibly a Deno situation. If y'all remember that in Deno, our main guy was kind of like a temporal anomaly. He's a singularity point. So basically his timeline was like I don't remember what the explanation of the singularity point was, but it was definitely like only he could do it because he was like a temporal like convergence, I think it was. Where like I don't know the exact term, but like he exists in time to be like a point where all timelines converge or something like that. Something like that. Which leads me to believe that either he exists outside of the multiverse, or it could be a genuine case of his entire universe was destroyed. So basically he's kind of like, or it could be that like in many multiverses there are versions of us that exist. He does not exist in the multiverse. You know what I mean? Like there are not other versions of him in the multiverse. So it could just be that it all becomes like, because he doesn't exist in other worlds, he can easily travel between multiverses. Whereas if you take someone out from their world and bring them to another multiverse, they might run into a version of themselves. And if you're to believe how multiverse theory works, if you encounter a version of yourself in another multiverse, like if you were end up removed from your multiverse into another one and find the exact version of yourself from that multiverse, you will immediately be filled with a desire to kill each other. Or the universe itself will eliminate you both as a result, because it's a paradox. So there could be a reason for that. There's like still some questions here and there that we're asking about the Gavan Infinity crew, but again, they're leaning us in. They're easing us in with some great action, with some great fights, and overall trying to figure out also the deal with the villains. Who is our main villain? Because for all we know, Gavan, Dark Gavan, is possibly operating under someone else's influence. He could just be a lackey for all we know. He doesn't seem like he'd be the mastermind, but if not, he's working under some sort of influence. And that's what it ends up feeling like at the end of the day. Like, it could be that, like, this Dark Gavan is acting on his own, or he's under the influence of someone else. We don't know. And whether we end up finding out or not is going to chip down to how the story goes. Because at the end of the day, I don't know why I keep saying the end of the day, because what matters is right now it's still early. We're still only 3 episodes in, but ultimately we're going to find out what happens as the weeks go by, and I, for one, am excited to see what they do. Like right now, again, it's very much easing people in. That's why they're not going hard on the story. But it does have every aspect of a feel-good Toku in that it doesn't matter, because just watching the show just feels good on the soul, you know what I mean? It just feels good on the soul. That's what it ends up being at the end of the day. It just feels good for the soul. So, honestly, like, they couldn't have done this in any better way. They couldn't have done it any better way, because ultimately what ends up happening is that, you want to make sure you get most eyes on the product, so you don't want it to be too inaccessible. You want it to be able to speak to newer fans while not alienating the legacy fans, you know? So they're doing a good job of that. But ultimately, we'll have to see where the story comes in, because right now, the villains are kind of like loosey-goosey, right? They're kind of like randos, and then we got this one crime lord that apparently knows something about interdimensional travel but ain't speaking for shit. So we don't know what else is going on there. So we are there's a looming mystery, but it's not at the forefront just yet. With that being said, I think it's just prudent for us to just see what happens out of the coming weeks and months. Because with every new week, we learn something new, even if it's not a lot. Because again, sometimes he just drops something there that you don't think about. Like, literally, he just dropped that as a one-off line there. That, like, if he were to take Luminous with him to other dimensions, they would die. That's a one-off. And now we're just wondering, what does that mean? Right? The pieces are slowly being fed to us. And that's ultimately what it's all about. Like, slowly learning, but just enjoying the ride. That's what it's all about. On that note, guys, I think that's where we're going to call it today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to do this show for you guys every week. I hope you guys enjoyed what we discussed here today. It's been an absolute blast. Let's go ahead and send the Twitch people off somewhere. Let's see where we're going to send y'all today. You know what? Let's see. Who's available right now? You know what? Let's send you guys over to my boys at New Legacy Inc. They're playing some Dragon Quest VII. So we're gonna go ahead and send our Twitch boys, our Twitch peoples over there. Very much so. All right. For everyone on YouTube and Twitch, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all next week for another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. As always, I am Call Sign Ancient, your mercenary of fortune, coming to you live from the year 2285, reminding you that the future is yours and yours alone to conquer. Conquer it by any means necessary. And I will see you all next week for another edition of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. Until then, peace out!